Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Devin Haney and George Kambosos. There were a lot of mixed emotions on why Devin Haney will go over to Australia and fight George Kambosos. Myself, many others included, felt with that first fight, it would be impossible for Devin Haney to go all the way down under, defeat George Kambosos by decision. We were saying he'd have to go and just knock him out. There were even discussions about him going out there and having a Bivol versus Canelo-like performance, and that not being enough, because we felt it would be impossible for Devin Haney to take the decision out the judge's hands, because he has proven to be an exceptional boxer, respectable power, but not the kind of power that's going to knock somebody out. Although he had one fight, we had a devastating one-punch knockout, but he had already hurt the guy. So you look at what happened in the first fight, and you figured, hey, he's got all the belts. We understand the clause, the contractual agreement. Why not dodge that damn bullet and try to finagle his way out of it and snake himself back to the States and fight somebody else? Because definitely going into a round two, the rematch, with George Kambosos, who's no longer the emperor, he's now ferocious again, Devin Haney's going to lose. Okay? Even I thought that. I didn't think George Kambosos would outbox him. I thought the judges pulled a rug from underneath him to keep those belts there in Australia. But Devin Haney beat him. And Devin Haney is in a great position now. But when you look at it, right, a lot of us were concerned, in addition to Haney being able to win, to the purse split for the first fight and second fight. But now that the dust has settled, we have a good idea of the kind of money Haney took home and the kind of money Kambosos took home. Now, Lou Dibella, who was overseeing this event, he was being attacked by fans on Twitter who were saying, hey, man, you really cashed out Kambosos. You know, like Lou Dibella threw Kambosos in there with Haney, knowing how difficult of a fight it would be, instead of taking him and having him fight 3-4 fights, and then come and take on a really tough competitor and like a Devin Haney. Lou Dibella goes on to say, you lose twice in your 20s to the same 10-round, to the same person, basically. You know what I'm saying? He created generational wealth with George Kambosos. So he's like, cashing out, that's what managers and promoters are happy to do when you create generational wealth. So I said, okay, generational wealth. Well, how much money did they make? Now, I did a video on the first fight with Devin Haney and George Kambosos. So with that first fight, it was a 70-30 purse split. But Devin Haney made like $2.8 million, okay? And George Kambosos made like 10. Now, that's not bad money. Now, although Devin Haney was the undisputed champion, right? And was going in, this is the first one, he was going into that first matchup for the undisputed distinction. And he had unified titles with Kambosos, right? Devin Haney was, before that first fight, Devin Haney was making about $2 to $3 million a fight. So he supposedly earned about $3 million when he fought Linares, and about $2 million when he fought Gamboa. So the way they figured it out, they said, okay, we'll give Haney $2.8 million. They screwed Haney on their first fight. So Haney made $2.8 million, was his guaranteed purse. But then the pay-per-view numbers came, and there was supposed to be an additional $8 million from the pay-per-view. So Devin Haney supposedly earned $10.8 million for that fight with Kambosos. And then Kambosos enjoyed, like I said, the 70-30 deal for the pay-per-view share. So Kambosos made $10 million plus pay-per-view. So Kambosos made a whole lot of money. All right. And Devin Haney made about 10.8 million, 10 million. Could have been slightly less based on the pay-per-view numbers. But my understanding is Devin Haney made 2.8 guarantee plus an additional 10. Kambosos made the $10 million guarantee plus an additional whatever for the first fight. So this time around, going into the rematch, Haney is reported was supposed to make a $10 million guarantee. $10 million. And $10 million more as a pay-per-view share. His increased payout was due to his championship status. So supposedly, right, Devin Haney made $20 million. So in the first fight, 10.8. The second fight, about $20 million. Devin Haney over those two fights, going down under, us thinking he can't win. Horrible decision. People saying his dad setting him up for failure, etc. Right? This man went and won all the titles, defended them twice, and out of the two fights made supposedly about $30 million. That's crazy. And with George Kambosos, his payout for the second fight was $11 million in total for the rematch against Haney. So the rematch breakdown was definitely fair for Devin Haney. I did not think the rematch would be so fair for Devin Haney, but it looks like Kambosos made about maybe 20, like they both over the two fights made about the same, close upwards of $30 million each. So when when someone attacks Lou Dibella and says, hey, so you just cashed Kambosos out, Lou Dibella's like, if you understood business, you would know that delivering generational wealth to fighters is the kind of cashing out they're proud to do. And I agree with Lou Dibella because I don't think he set Kambosos up to fail. He set that man up to create generational wealth. In addition, they said Haney's dad set him up, along with the promoters, to create generational wealth, but also history. Okay? Haney did what Kambosos did. Kambosos came stateside, handled business. Haney went to Australia, handled business. Kambosos only able to do it once. Haney did it twice. But Kambosos has repeatedly traveled around the world and fought and won in people's backyards. So, for those of you who are sitting there saying Devin Haney is not the top dog at 135, look, man, we need to give that man some credit, okay? Give him some credit. It doesn't matter. He can only fight the guys who are available, and they have to fight the fights that make sense. Him going and fighting Kambosos was the man who beat the man who beat the man. So you got to give Kambosos credit, okay? And when it comes to Tank Davis and, Ryan Garcia, what's his name? Teofimo, Shakur Stevenson. Remember, Ryan Garcia jumped up. Teofimo bounced. Shakur just moved to 135. Tank Davis, they're not putting him in tough fights. Now, Tank Davis, majority believe, is the best. From 130 to 140, Tank Davis is the best. Majority believe that. But we know at Tank Davis' team, they're not putting him in any high-risk situations. They said that. They're going to sit there and rob the bank. And I think their goal is to make Tank Davis a billionaire. Now, with Devin Haney going forward, he's calling out Tank Davis. He's calling out, him and Shakur Stevenson are friends, but he's like, if it makes sense, they'll do it. What that means is they want real money to make that fight. So we'll see going forward what's going to happen. But there's one person who's probably the most sour, just a miserable ass, and that's Paulie Malignaggi. Miserable. Paulie, I like listening to some of his interviews. Paulie Malignaggi knows boxing. He can break things down. He can point things out that maybe a lot of us wouldn't maybe a not so seasoned eye or an untrained eye can't see when it comes to boxers and what they do or don't do in the ring, or the little subtle things they do that just, go underneath our radar. But Paulie Malignaggi picks it up because he recognizes it, having been a very successful professional boxer. But he just doesn't seem to want to give Haney credit. He does say some good things about him, but you can't be mad. Like, Paulie Malignaggi's mad because Devin Haney comes from money, and his dad was able to put up money to get him certain fights and to where he didn't have to stay on a contract long term with promoters or where he would get robbed. You can't get mad at Devin Haney for that. You should be applauding him and being glad that he didn't have to quite struggle and go through the fire like you. And nobody gave Devin Haney anything. He had to still go fight and win. Okay? Devin Haney is a very, very good fighter. Matter of fact, Devin Haney is more like Paulie Malignaggi than he is Floyd Mayweather when it comes to fighting style. So I don't know why the hell Paulie giving Devin Haney a hard time. He can box. He just tries to keep the fight simple. Devin Haney's not like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was had the kind of style that can just morph from one style to the next. Outbox you, knock you out, everything. So to look at, I'm talking about Floyd's always been able to do that, but he definitely chose to box more later in his career. But Devin Haney ain't no damn Floyd Mayweather. Devin Haney is more like a Paulie Malignaggi. Outstanding boxer, quick, those quick twitch reflexes, can box, legs, move, everything. And his power, he doesn't have a whole lot of power. Respectable power, but really doesn't have that punch to get you out of there like Floyd had, okay? So Paulie Malignaggi and Devin, they're more like goddamn brothers. I don't know why Paulie Malignaggi is hating on him. Very similar in style. Once Devin Haney gets up with a real hard puncher killer, good chin who can, cut the ring off and fight intelligently like a Miguel Cotto, Devin Haney's gonna have some trouble if he isn't able to deal with that pressure. But the other thing that concerns me is, this is like a whole nother video, but man, who's gonna be the guy who takes PEDs and gets in there and just beats Devin Haney down and blows our minds away and then pops positive for some illegal performance enhancement, type stuff, man. So at this point, I think if somebody's able to do that, that would just raise some red flags, because Devin Haney's in shape. He has legs. He has stamina. He's got decent power. But who the hell if anyone is able to prevent Devin Haney from using his legs and moving around the ring, I would have to suspect that person has some shit in their system. But that being said, that's it, man. Lou Dibella says, hey, yeah, I cashed out George Kambosos. George Kambosos went from supposedly having about $2 million in his bank account to having his net worth increase massively after beating Teofimo Lopez and going into those two fights with Devin Haney. So, hey, as far as I'm concerned, win-win. Glad these fighters got paid. Both of them dudes made like $30 million. Maybe it's a little give and take a little bit. Promoters got to get their cut. Everybody has to get their cut. So when you dice it up, who knows what they were left with. Bottom line is we know their net worth was massively increased. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to everybody from all 7 continents, the veterans. Appreciate your support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.